thought that I should be. And the dreams that I have found just don't seem to reach quite as much to me. Over, I look past my shoulder to see all the places I've been. Now it's so into me that this feeling I seek is in a place where my journey began. I wanna walk by the river, the breeze in my hand, go on till midnight without any care. The girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life in the Bay City night. I seize the morning, I'm gonna make sure to get in the rising sun, where the fireflies in flight, dancing through the fields now that the night has gone. It's the chorus of soundtrack that brings me to life and puts the heart like a voice of God. It's the song that they sing forever, the memories they bring that takes me back to where I wanna be. I wanna walk by the river, the breeze in my hair, hold on till midnight without any care. The girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life in the Bay City night. I know home is where my heart will always be. And that's like all of you who make this place up somewhere always for the people. But it's somehow, some way, I will never lose my way, and my rule takes me on my own. I'll just look back to see there's no holding behind me, and instead I'm never alone. I wanna walk by the river, the breeze in my hair, stroll on till midnight without any care. With the girl that I love holding on to me tight, leaving a storybook in the Bay City night. By the river, the breeze in my hair, stroll on till midnight without any care. With the girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life in those Bay City nights. Those Bay City nights, those Bay City nights, those Bay City nights, those Bay City nights.
Thank you, Jimmy D. Thanks for asking, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to do one for all the girls right now. Make some noise, ladies. Here we go. It's one called The Girl Like You.
When you're looking for the one in a million girls, I guess that's the chance you take. But you still gotta go through the motions, cause they know you might get hurt. So I set my side, come Sunday night, till my love is over. For a girl like you, a girl like you, there ain't nothing that a little boy like me will do. Oh, I'm so true, I'm so true. searching to get over down all around a girl like you. All I ever wanted was a girl like you. One more swing, and I believe that we all know why my life just died. And I don't need you to walk for me, but I wanna walk the line. For a girl like you, a girl like you, there ain't no boy like me for you. Oh, I'm so true, I'm so blue. Listen, I get over and all around for a girl like you. Get this down now. Share my life with a girl like you, a girl like you. There ain't never gonna go a boy like me won't do. Oh, I'm so true, I'm so blue. Such a man over and over and a girl like you. I'm just looking over now with my nose to the ground, all around, up and down these down for a girl like you.
There we go, that's one called The Girl Like You. Let's bring this place up.
Yeah, I like this. I know this a lot.
Alright, we did this one in our first set, but we're going to do it for you again. Not that one. Well, we can ooh it to anything, right?
Hell yeah.
Let's bring it on. How about a little bit of Paul Cribby? Paul, can you give us a little cowbell? More cowbell. Ladies and gentlemen, how about giving it up for Paul Cribby? Here we go for you. It's brand new offer by the Light of the Moon recording. The first two that we released, we'll do it out for each and every one of you up front here in front of the bandstand. We're loving it. We hope you are too. Here we go. It's one called Giving It Up for Your Love.
Giving it up for your love, I said everything. I'm giving it up for Hold it high, hold it high. I'm a little mixed up. Oh, giving everything I've got. Too much is money, baby, don't need it gone. And you and I, giving up your love every day. Giving up your love right now. Yes, I'm giving it up your love. I said every day. Giving it up your love somehow. Come on, darling. Ooh, you know I ain't playing. You better listen to me. Always hot, always hot. I'm a little mixed up. I'm giving everything I've got. Don't want to money, baby, don't need it gone. And you know that. Give it up your love every day. Give it up your love right now. Yes, I'm giving it up your love every day. Give it up your love right now. Give it up your love every day. Give it up your love right now. Yes, I'm giving it up your love. I said every day. I'm giving it up your love somehow.
Giving it up for your love. Oh, yeah. All right, we had a tune. We were going to do it in the first set. We didn't get a chance to do so. We ran out of time. Here we go for you. Polka time. We'll send it out to all our friends here from Chicago. From not only the folks from the IPA, Jenny Belinda's in the house. That's right. All our Chicago friends. Here's one called At the Square. Polka.
Gdzieś się ślubcyrumy, to naszego karnia. Gdzieś się ślubcyrumy, to naszego karnia. A na tej kawiarni muzyczka pięknie gra. I tam mój kolega wesoło się śpiewa. I tam mój kolega wesoło się śpiewa. Tu zeszli, bawmy się wesoło. Bierzmy się za ręce, obrócimy w koło. Bierzmy się za ręce, obrócimy w koło. Czyja ta dziewczyna, co się z nią tańcuje? Co się z nią wykręca, to ją pocałuje. Co się z nią wykręca, to ją pocałuje. Ta dziewczyna, czyja ona, czyja, co się pierdzieli, odchorali się jak, co się pierdzieli, odchorali się jak, odprowadziłby cię, dziewczyno do domu, weź nie daj mnie, ani też nikomu, weź nie daj mnie, ani też nikomu.
Hey, there you go. That's one called At the Square. All right, moving right on down the hit parade. Uh-oh, looks like it's shot time. All right. Everybody got their shots? Glasses up, everybody in the back. Sitting down, raise your glasses. Nostrovia, whoopsie. Nostrovia. Hey! All right, here we go for you by request. Here's another tune, especially for Holly. It's her favorite song off the All In recording. Oh, I love you too. Here we go for you. It's one called Love Me Tonight.
I've been lonesome, I've been empty, I've got an aching deep down inside. I need someone to hold me. Pull down the shades, turn out the light, love me tonight. Don't think about tomorrow, it don't matter anymore. We can turn the key and lock the world outside our door. I need you so now, come on, let's go now. Kick off the shoes, turn out the light, love me tonight. Now don't you worry, we're all alone now. Let your hair down, sit by my side, turn on the TV, put on some music. Pull down the shades, turn out the light, love me tonight. Don't think about tomorrow, it don't matter anymore. We can turn the key and lock the door outside our door. I need you close now, come on, let's go now. Kick off your shoes, turn out the light, love me tonight. I need you so now, come on, let's go now. Kick off your shoes, turn out the light, love me tonight. Pull down the shades, turn out the light, love me tonight. Turn me out, another second go. Tonight. All right, how many folks want to hear Uncle Chris on the vocals again? Let's do it for
Uncle Chris.
I got a question. I'm not a creepy Uncle Chris. I'm not the creepy Uncle Chris, right? I'm a good Uncle Chris, right?
You're the fun Uncle Chris. Right, here we go for you. Off our And the Road Begins CD. We'll do this one especially for Liz Juba in the house. Here we go. It's one called It's Polka Magic.
Sing the song you belong when you get your run. It's a trend for you, my friend, to say. When your friend gets to sing, focus scenery, what's happening? Just the rest of the world in a real way. It's for the magic, it's for the magic. It's something to define your soul. The way you love it so, it's for the magic. It's for the magic. It's for the magic for you and for me.
Right now we got a special treat for you. How many folks remember the Traps out of Toledo? Alright, we're going to bring out Bobby Earl to do a couple of vocals for you right now. And before we do, we'd just like to let you know, if you haven't heard, Bobby's dad, Bob Earl Sr., has been inducted into the IPA Polka Music Hall of Fame. So how about a big round of applause for the Earl family? Yeah. All right, we're going to do this one especially for Cam and Michaela. Or should I say Michaela and Cam? Here's Bobby Earl on the vocals. It's one called Wind Me Up. Wind me up, turn me on, and watch me cry for you. When you're drinking wondering what all I want. And I'll never know until I want me up till I want. But I don't care 'cause I'm got to wind me up again. That's why I got to wind you up and not next year. Wind me up, turn me out and watch me crying for you. You can walk like one all I want. And I'll never know until I wind me up till I want. But I don't care 'cause I'll be back to wind me up again. Wind me up, turn me out and watch me crying for you. Drinking water and wine is all I want. And I'll never know until I want. That's all I want. But I don't care 'cause I'll be back to wind me up again. Hey! Let's give it up for Bobby Joe! Give it up for Bobby Earl. That's one off of our And the Road Begins CD. We'll do this next tune for you. This is one he recorded with Dynabrass and also done by Polka Town Sound back in the day. We'll do this one for Sandy and Cindy right now. Here's one called Please Be Near Me, Polka. again. How about a round of applause? Bobby Earl. Hey, Bobby. We're going to keep him up here for one more. You want one more out of Bobby? Bobby. Hey, Bobby. Here we go for you. This one off of the Bay City Nights recording. As soon as we there we go. Here we go for you. Being friends and together, you and I.
I wanna be with you. Let's fly away in the sky, out in the blue. We're on the same heart, and it's all just you and me, flying through the stars of fun. Even your heart, I'm taking you alone. Gonna take my heart and take my one away. Take me on, take me down, take me on. Hold the hand, we went something else. I wanna be with you. You wanna be with me, I wanna be with you. Out and forever. We're the same heart, and it's all done. Just you and me, flying through the stars of fire. In your eyes, I can see that you know. Come in my heart, take me my heart. Take me the power, take me the love, take me the moonlight. Hold the hand, we ain't friends from the love. With any ocean, those faithful lands, the stars, the great star of night. Watching as the sun journey through the heavens. That's why we'll always be together, you and I. Together, you and I can stop the rain and make the sunshine. Paint a pretty rainbow in the sky. Together, you and I be loved like a songbird and a song. That's why we'll always be together, you and I. Fragrance of those flowers is happy as the laughter of a child. And peaceful as a river, sweet as forever. That's why we'll always be together, you and I.
There we go. Bobby Earl helping us out on the vocals. How about a big round of applause for my brother-in-law? Great job, Bob. Always a pleasure. All right, we had a request for this next tune. We'll do it especially for our good friend Karen, who came in all the way from Toledo, Ohio. Hey, we want to send a tune out especially for the USPA New Horizon Award winner. How about a big round of applause? Luke Marusha, yeah? And how about the great job he did on trumpet last night with New Generations all night long. Great job. Man, he killed it. Nice job, Luke. He sure did. And for all our friends from Wisconsin as well, here's the Jeff Malesko original going back to those days of TPM, one called You and Me.
It's like a dream come true. I can't believe the love you find. Your smiles like the sunshine, bringing light upon my day. Your sweet voice is all that fills my mind. And for the first time, you was new to me. I see you in my life, my destiny. You and me side by side, walking hand in hand through life. Nothing in the world will come between us. If I want, do I do? I will stand right next to you. And today live through eternity. Fight together, forever you and me. It's like I've been renewed. All my fears have seemed to melt away. And I give up everything I have just to be here at your side and to feel the love I'm feeling here today. And for the first time, you just say to me, I see you in my life, my destiny. You and me, side by side, walking hand in hand tonight. Nothing in the world will come between us. If I want, do I do? I will stay right next to you. And today it is still through eternity. Fight together, forever you and me. I see you in my life, my destiny. You and me, side by side, walking hand in hand through life. Nothing in the world will come between us. If I want, do I do? I will stand right next to you. As the days begin, go through eternity. Life together, forever you and me.
Yeah, there you go. Chase on the vocal. That's the Jeff Molesko original, You and Me. You guys might hear a joke or no? All right, we're going to do a medley of tunes for you right now. And before we do, once again, we'd like to give a big round of applause to the president of the USPA, Cindy Fisher, and the whole board of directors. Okay, and by request, because absolutely, she's the president, whatever the president wants, right? All right, here we go. This is a legendary Dynabrass tune. I mean, seriously, this is legendary. This goes way back to almost to the very beginning, written by the bass player back in the day by Kurt Majewski. How many remember Kurt Majewski? Fabulous bass player. He put together this tune. It's a love song. Here we go for you. Hit the bricks.
We got a bond together well. After you moved in my life, you came everything hell. Especially days when there's overtime in front of my TV. When the house was like a mess, you yell and scream at me. Of my backyard world, so we gave and paid the rent. Every dime that I bring home is dollar that we spend. You want what you want when you want. You don't get it your mouth. There's one more thing you'll get from me. A day's notice to get out. So hit the bricks and I can't listen to your name anymore. Can't find time to find a job, I'll help you find a door. You're always on the bathroom and you couldn't make me sick. I had enough and it went so on. Hit the bricks. Keep me up all night still and others while you score. Take conferences, phone calls, stay on the line for hours. Leave their dirty pantyhose are hanging in my shower. Falling in a good thing and I like you better than. Living with you spend my love, something I can stand. Sure we've had some good times, crazy laughed a lot. I understand and see it going. Then again, maybe not. So hit the bricks and I can't stand there touching nagging anymore. If you can't find time to find a job, I'll help you find a door. Always like the bathroom and this cricket makes me sick. I had enough for it, so it's so hit the bricks.
Cindy, by request, one called Hit the Bricks. All right, we're going to do a polka medley of tunes for you right now. Oh, you know, why not play some medleys, right? My father-in-law used to think all we should have played was medleys. Medley, medley, medley. Here's one off of our Dance All Night recording. We call this one another good old polka medley. Sing along if you know the words. Here we go.
Siwe oczko ma, a mnie spogląda, jak róża wtedy sięga. Siwe oczko ma, a mnie spogląda, jak róża wtedy sięga. Przychodzi do mnie, przychodzi do mnie i rączkę mi podaje, i rączkę mi podaje. Zobaczę się jej ulicy boi, o to kochanie moje. Zobaczę się jej ulicy boi, o to kochanie moje. Czerwone usta, nóżeczki piękne białe, nóżeczki piękne białe. Chyba cię przeje, nie ulicy boi, to mnie życie całe. Chyba cię przeje, nie ulicy boi, to mnie życie całe. Dałem ci dziewczę, ej piękne pierścioneczek, ej piękne pierścioneczek. Ciebie świadczała, ej nie zapomniała, że ja twój kochaneczek. Ciebie świadczała, ej nie zapomniała, że ja twój kochaneczek.
Thank you. That's one called Another Good Old Polka Medley. All right, we're going to take you back to the year 1992 when the Dynabrass had an album called In the Heat of the Night. Y'all remember that, In the Heat of the Night. We got an instrumental tune for you right now. We're going to feature Jimmy Montez Jr. for you. Here's one called The Oriental Hoo-Ah. All right, how's everybody doing out there tonight? Feels like a Saturday night here at the USPA. Wow, 1:11 already. That's amazing. Time flies when you're having fun, don't you agree?
That's right. Oh yeah.
All right. Hey, we'd like to thank you all for staying out here on the late Sunday night, Memorial Day weekend. Did you all enjoy the USPA Festival and Convention? Yeah, fantastic job. And once again, a big round of applause for the entire board, for Cindy Hasel and her team, and also all the volunteers that worked all weekend long, selling the tickets and working the door and all that good stuff. We could not do it without you. All right, here we go for you. We're getting close to wrapping it up for this evening.
Hey, let's give it up for the new Michigan director, Kimberly Hedrich.
All right. Well, here we go for you. It's called One for the Road off our 10 and 5 recording. Here's Chase on another vocal, One for the Road. Here we go.
For no reason. Like literally no reason.
Now we're all having fun tonight. We don't want this night to end. Wanna hear you sing along. If you know the words, let's sing the song. One for the road, one for the road. Let's sing it one more time. Somewhere like hope to do. Leave the blues behind. You gotta sing it again. Let the good times roll. Come on, everybody, yeah. Let's sing one for the road. You just want to sing along. Clap your hands now, shout louder. One for the road, and we'll sing the song. One for the road, and sing it one more time. Nothing like hope to do, leave the blues behind. If you like to sing it again. The good times roll. Come on, everybody, yeah. Let's sing one for the road. Morning after the night before, have to leave now, but before we go, we're gonna play one for the road. One for the road, and sing it one more time. Nothing like what we do, we don't lose behind. You got to sing it again, let the good times roll. Come on, everybody, yeah, let's sing one for the road. One for the road, let's sing it one more time. Nothing like what we do, we don't lose behind. You like to sing it again, let the good times roll. Come on, everybody, yeah, let's sing one for the road. For the road. All right, you guys ready for another medley? We're going to do this one for Mike Greichuk. He loves the Happy Louie tunes.
Here we go for you. You can all sing along. We call this one the Happy Louie medley.
Demi se pociałem, kręciłego łebie, co mi podziupałem, to cię nie powiem. Jest tam przypadkiem, jest tam przypadkiem. Panie jedno pięknie na desce na maści, utracił kochanka. Panie jedno pięknie na desce na maści, utracił kochanka. Moja dziewczyna nigdy go pomyli, nigdy go pomyli. Będę jeszcze do wojny, do ciebie wrócę znów. Będę jeszcze do wojny, do ciebie wrócę znów.
Hey, there you go. That's one called the Happy Louie Medley. All right, we're going to keep it polka time.
Has anybody got a glass of water or something? I know.
We're going to do this tune especially for Nicole, one of our bartenders, all weekend long. Here's one by request. It's called The Bartenders Polka. Whoa, there you go. One called The Bartenders Polka. Yeah, we've got one or two more, or three or four, or maybe five. Five maximum that we're going to do for you. We're going to roll out the hits for you right now. A couple of new ones, a couple of old ones. The Song of the Year from 2022, the Song of the Year from 2024, the Song of the Year from 2017, and a couple of brand new ones for you. Let's get things going with a little bit of Paul Cribby. All right, are you all ready to have some fun? You got to make a little bit of noise. Come on, if you're still here, and you're still here, make some noise. All right, here we go for you. 2022 Song of the Year. Just so much fun it's all about.
Stay up, catching in my backyard. Sometimes I call it a draw. Sometimes I wish that fires could build a castle. Sometimes I wish they just fall. But I still wake up, I still see your ghost. No more, I feel not sure what I stand for. Whoa. What do I stand for? What do I stand for? Most times I don't know anymore. Sometimes I wish that this all would end, 'cause I could use some friends for a minute. Sometimes I scared don't forget me again. Sometimes I always win, I always win. But I still wake up, I can see your ghost. No more, I'm still not sure what I stand for. What do I stand for? What do I stand for? I don't know anymore. Whoa, 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 sometimes I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Sometimes I call it a draw. Sometimes I wish that fires could build a castle. Sometimes I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up, I can see your ghost. But I still not know what I stand for. What do I stand for? What do I stand for? I don't know anymore.
All right, working down that list of songs, that list of hits. Here's the 2024 Song of the Year one more time. And we want to thank you all for the award, all the voting members of the USPA. This one's for you. Here we go. It's called Poland. Grazie, Poland.
Pole, grazie, pole, niente, lei è cesso, pochino cesso. moda, rutina mi szkoda. Pole nasze pole, rozkażę jeszcze, czerwone tańczy, tańczy, tańczy. Hej! Pole nasze pole, jeszcze najlepszy, rutina mi szkoda, rutina mi szkoda. Pole nasze pole, rozkażę jeszcze, czerwone tańczy, tańczy, tańczy. Hej!
The song of the year from 2024, Dynabrass, Pole. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all the guys in the Dynabrass, we really do appreciate you sticking out, hanging out with us all evening long to wrap up this year's USPA. I'd like to remind you about that Brews Cruise. If you're not signed up yet, you need to do so. Absolutely.
I'm very excited about it.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Let me tell you. And also, don't forget, coming up very soon, the Toledo Area Polka Society has their Polish Summer Picnic, June 13 and 14. And I know all the Toledo folks will be there. If you're from out of town, we got Polka Family, Lenny Gomolka for 2 days, yours truly. Dynabrass, also Easy Tones, and the Holy Toledo Jam Band for that weekend. And that's June 13 and 14 in Toledo, Ohio. That's our next weekend that we're on the road. Right now we're going to do this one. It's brand new for you. Just going to be released here coming up on the weekend of June 6, 7, and 8. For all the young and all the young in heart, here's one called Wake Me Up.
Feel my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I can tell where the journey ends, and I know where to start. They got me up too young to understand. They say I got a better dream. Oh, life will pass me by if I don't open my eyes. That's fine by me. Don't wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and to travel the world, but I don't have any cash. Wish that I could stay forever young. Not afraid to close my eyes. So I'm getting for everyone, and love is mine. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself tonight, even though I was gone. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself alive, didn't know I was lost. I didn't know I was lost. I didn't know I was lost. I didn't know I was lost.
Hey, there you go. That's one called Wake Me Up. All right, we've got 2 songs left on the hit parade. Is everybody having a good time? All right. Everybody out on the dance floor, get those arms up in the air. We're going to do the song of the year from 2017. It goes like this. Everybody to your left. Everybody to your right. You take 1 step forward or 1 step back. Let's dance all night.
Everybody to the left, and everybody to the right. Take 1 step forward, 1 step back. We're gonna dance all night. Now roll to the left, now roll to the right. Take 1 step forward, 1 step back. We're gonna dance all night. Sunday morning, I feel so bad, legs are tired and weak. Monday morning, I've got the blues, the whole time on the street. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, and some more. Thursday morning, too. On Friday night, I feel alright. Now I wanna dance with you. Everybody to the left, everybody to the right. Take 1 step forward, 1 step back. We're gonna dance all night. Now roll to the left. Roll to the right. Take 1 step forward, 1 step back. We're gonna dance all night. Turn me up all night long. All really wanted to. The 40th man on the best dance. Bring the whole country. When you're young to be true, when you can dance the whole song. Now dance with you. Everybody to the left, everybody to the right. Take 1 step forward, 1 step back. We're gonna dance all night. Now roll to the left, now roll to the right. Take 1 step forward, 1 step back. We're gonna dance all night. Sunday morning, I feel so bad, laying tired and weak. On Monday Monday morning I've got the blues, so I'm hard to sleep. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, next come on, Thursday morning too. But Friday night I feel fine. I can't hear you. Everybody to the left, everybody to the right. We one step forward, one step back. We're gonna dance all night. I'm going to the left, I'm going to the right. We one step forward, one step back. Dance all night. Everybody to the left, everybody to the right. Take one step forward, one step back. We're gonna dance all night. Come on to the left, come on to the right. Take one step forward, one step back. We're gonna dance all night. Go, 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 go.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That'll do it for the Dynabrass for tonight. We want to thank you all for being here. Oh, 1:45 in the morning. Woo! Oh, I don't know. You guys want one more? All right, we're going to do it for you again. We had several requests. They said, hey, keep playing that song. That's really got a lot of energy, and it's because of you out there. We have the energy that we have up here on the stage. We work together, so give yourselves a big round of applause. Clap your hands for yourselves, is what I meant to say.
I don't know what they're putting in this. I'm starting to feel kind of funny.
Yeah, here we go for you. This will be the last one for the evening. I'd like to remind you, join us throughout the summer. You can find our schedule on our website. So just look online, check your emails. And we're going to do one last tune for each and every one of you that stay here until 1:45 in the AM this Memorial Day weekend. USPA 2025 coming to a close with Giving It Up for Your Love. Thank you one and all. You've been a fantastic audience. We appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. We'll see you throughout the summer. Good night, everybody.